It's 2025 and hair growth is about science-based techniques. Let's get into it.
For those of you who are following me on the hair growth challenge, I wanted to come on here real quick and show you how you're supposed to detangle your hair before you wash it, or if you're just detangling it, period. If you have longer hair.
Now remember, it's not just about long hair or hair growth. It's also about retention. But before we can talk about length, we need to talk about stopping the breakage and the mechanical damage because that's what's stopping you. So get your notebooks out and put your offense in your pocket. Don't be mad.
I am back! What it do, baby?
Now, I know that it's a hard pill for most to swallow, but most people are confused because with you having curly hair, you think that the only way you can do your hair is if it's wet. But let's talk about detangling.
For those of you who are following me on the hair growth challenge, I wanted to come on here real quick and show you how you're supposed to detangle your hair before you wash it, or if you're just detangling it, period. If you have longer hair, you want to start off putting it into 4 sections like this. But if your hair is shorter, then you might want to put it in like maybe 6 or 8 sections. But you take that one of those sections, and this has to be a day where you have absolutely nothing to do, because it can be time consuming, but it's worth it if you want to retain the length that you have grown. This is for people with more textured hair, coily and kinky hair. But you take one of those sections and you part a smaller section out.
When you search my name on YouTube, you see a lot of things, but I'm only giving attention to the things that add value to you. So let's talk about single strand knots, aka trichinosis. This is what you guys are calling single strand knots, but in reality, it's really a hair shaft disorder that is really onset by split ends. And in a second, I'm going to show you how your patterns and routines, like detangling in certain ways, is what causes you to have this hair shaft disorder. Now, can all races have this hair shaft disorder? Absolutely, but it is running rampantly with black women. Why? Because most black women are scared of combs and brushes. Most black women do not make it a daily practice to comb their hair on a regular basis, and most black women think that to comb their hair or to detangle their hair, they first have to wet it and put a bunch of conditioner on. And most black women think that this is normal, but the reality of it is, and I'm going to ask you to lose your offense, is A, your styles, patterns, and routines should not be those that allow your hair to get matted and tangled to begin with. Your hair should never be so matted or so tangled that you can't run a comb through it. It should never be so matted that you can't run your fingers through it. And whatever patterns and routines you have that cause those things to happen should be changed. Now, you guys have seen this video before. You all know that here on my channel is only teachable moments. I'm never talking about anything to embarrass you, but first we're going to watch this video that some of you have seen already, and this is of someone who looked at or heard me talking about detangling the hair with oil. But this is the problem that we have, because most of the time you think that you can do your team natural stuff and the way that I'm telling you to do it at the same time, and you really can't. You have to pick science or hack. You can't do both, right? But this beauty was at the beginning stages, and I know at this point she already knows this, but I want to give you a visual representation of the wrong way, and then I'll give you a visual representation of the right way to detangle with oil, not water, not conditioner. Okay, let's get into it.
So first step of my first time doing a blowout, and trying to take some tips from Cyn Doll. My hair, I need to detangle it, but I'm not going to do it wet. I'm going to do it with a tiny bit of oil and see if I get an excessive amount of like breakage or an excess of hair that comes out on the comb, whatever. So I'm going to do that first. I'm not going to wet my hair. I'm just going to detangle, semi-dry. I'm going to wash, and then I'm going to start the actual process. Okay, so I sectioned everything off. Put the oil in already. Honestly, it's not that hard to detangle right now. I thought it was gonna be really rough because I've had a high puff in for a couple of days and I haven't brushed or combed it to get that sebum to travel. So far, it's like a tiny, tiny bit of hair, but I don't know. It's not that bad. Okay, and this is as much as I have on my brush.
Now, before we dive deep into this, I want you guys to know that if you want to see the full video and my commentary on her full video, link in the description box below. Go ahead and watch that. But in a second, I'm going to show you the right way to do it, right? And I promised her that I would do a video like this, but it's been forever. But one thing that I want to say to you that is probably going to make you feel away, but I don't care. Look in the mirror, ask yourself why you're offended by the truth. Most of these are the styles that you guys are wearing, different variations of these 4 styles. These 4 styles are going to cause you to have matting, tangling, and so much breakage. And you guys think that your length equates to the health of your hair, and it's not true, because you see so many women who swear by these hairstyles that you're looking at and their hair is long, so you think that that's what you should do because you think that length equals healthy hair, and it's simply not true, right? So if your hair is always in an afro, yes, detangling your hair is going to be extremely hard. If your hair is always like wet or barely wet or air drying and in a high puff 24/7 and then you finally take it down, yes, your hair is going to be extremely hard to detangle. And these are the things that we don't want to talk about. We want a hack that makes it easier to wear the styles that we shouldn't be wearing on a regular basis, instead of just changing to styles that are more feasible. But let's
and put away that, and then you take the hair, that small section right there, and you kind of run your fingers through it a little bit, and if you feel like some resistance, a tangle or knot or something like that, you stop. Don't rip through it, because you can rip your ends, and your ends are what we're trying to retain throughout this period, hair growth journey, just period. And you take a little bit of oil, and I mean just a tiny bit of oil, and you put it in that section, and you rub that in like that, and then try going through again with your fingers, and if it goes through, then you pull out your wide tooth comb or unbrush or shower brush or whatever you want to use, and you start at the ends and you lightly comb through like that from the ends, and be very gentle and move your way up to the roots. If you feel resistance again, stop, put a little bit of oil, rub it in that section, then bring it through again. There's a myth that conditioner and water is better to detangle hair, but it's actually that's not true. When your hair is wet, it's actually paralyzed, and it feels like, because you can go through it so easily, that you're actually having slip, and it's making it easier to comb, but it's actually paralyzing your hair, and you're actually ripping through your hair still. And if you don't believe me, do a section with conditioner and water and comb through it, and do a section with oil and comb through it, and see which one comes out with the most hair that you've combed out. And but after you detangle that section, you take it and you braid it or twist it away, and you move to the next section. And that there, ladies and gentlemen, if there's some, is how you detangle your hair the correct way to retain the length that you've grown. Now, if this was like a braid or a twist that's been up for a couple weeks or months or so, you make sure you detangle that you start taking the braid or twist down from the end gently, and moving your fingers through it all the way up to the roots until you get it all the way down, and then that's when you start using the oil and your fingers and the comb. But you never ever just take the comb and rip through it like this, because that literally is tearing your ends up. And you want to treat your ends like silk is the oldest part of your hair and the most fragile. Okay? And that's how you detangle your hair. Thank you for joining me. Thank you muches. Love you bunches.
Now, most people think that to properly detangle your hair, you have to rip through your hair. And most people are also under the impression that if they put a bunch of conditioner on their hair and their hair have tangles, and you have that little detangling, little crazy, little stupid little brush that y'all love using now, and y'all use that, and you think that if you use a little bit of tension, and that if the brush makes it through the hair, that you're properly detangling the hair because the hair has so much lift. That's not what happened. Your hair broke. So when I say the hair is weakest when it's wet, it's not so I can argue with people. It is because your hair is weakest when it's wet. And all of the hair that's in the brush was supposed to still be in your hair. It reminds me of that video clip that I put at the very, very beginning, where you saw a woman who did this challenge, leaving braids in her hair for 7-8 months just to see what her hair growth was going to be like, just to see that she didn't have any length. But see, that's not true. Her hair definitely grew in 7 months, but all that hair that y'all saw is shedding and all of the things, that was her length. That was the length that she was supposed to retain, but you didn't see any of that because you guys think, for whatever reason, Black women have been fed this lie that the longer you don't touch your hair, the healthier it is. And that's not true. When you're detangling your hair and you have all of that, when you're detangling your hair and you have balls and balls and clobs of your hair in your hand or in the brush, that is not normal. You are breaking your hair off. And then after all of these years of you doing that, or after a year of you doing that, then you go in to see a cosmetologist and you get your hair straightened and it's completely see-through, and you're lost to why it's happening. It happens during the detangling process. The majority of your damage is happening during the detangling process, with your unbrush and with your layers of product, with the slip and all of the things. Hair care, natural hair care, has nothing to do with the science of hair. All you guys focus on is products, oils, and butters, and things that make the things that you should not be doing on a regular basis to your hair easier to do. Just because it's easier does not mean that it's something that you should be doing. But I digress. So that was a beauty from inside of the 7-day challenge. Is that the full 7-day challenge? Absolutely not. That's not even any piece of the core of the 7-day challenge, because if it was, it wouldn't be online. But you can get your own little small slither or sample of the 7-day hair growth challenge by getting your hands on my 7-day challenge journal, right? This is a journal that really, really helps you take complete and total control of your hair growth cycle, your diet, and so many other things. On the screen are 2 of the reviews that we have. You guys, so many of you have purchased, so please, 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 it helps more than you will ever know if you will leave a review. Links are in the description box below. You guys, this journal I worked so hard on, just the concept and the system that you'll be putting yourself in when you make this journal a part of your everyday 7-day cycle, right? So again, links in the description box below. But I want you guys to know that hair growth is not locked inside of your oils, your butters, the greases, and all of these different hacks that you're doing. Your main objective is to retain the length that grows, the length that you acquire as your hair grows, right? Because at the end of the day, regardless of what anybody says. Your hair is going to grow with or without you. The thing is, most black women have practices that slow down the hair growth cycle, like oiling and greasing the scalp. I don't care what anybody says. I will forever say that, because every time they stop, hair grows back. Women use oils and butters to bring their edges back, but I know for a fact that women grow their edges back when they stop using oil as a end all be all. It is a sealant. How can something that is a sealant help you grow something back unless it is formulated as a carrier? It's very, very different, and it's very complex. But anyone that you see that tells you, oh, this oil singularly by itself is going to do something, they're lying to you. The only thing that an oil is going to do is one or two things. It's either going to be a sealant, or it is going to be a carrier of something, and then it's to be shampooed off. That's it, and that's all. And for its sealing properties, that is for the hair shaft. However, you can't put too much of this sealant on your hair, and I don't recommend putting any of it on, because the natural sebum that's supposed to come out of your head then has nothing to do. But I digress. We'll talk about that again in a second. Most of the patterns and the routines that people have are all cased around the whole team natural movement, the curly cuts that are now being demonized by the people who started it. But the thing that we need to focus on are our hormone levels, because we know what we should and shouldn't do. But what are you doing from the inside? Because I don't care what oils, what greases, or what butters you put on your hair. At the end of the day, most women are having issues with hair growth because you have no idea what your hormonal levels are. So I'm telling you, carrots can do it. Yes, raw carrots can play a supportive role in managing hormonal issues like hidradenitis suppurativa, which my body deals with, hormonal acne, PCOS related skin and hair issues, estrogen dominant symptoms, hair thinning from hormonal imbalances, and so many other things. But I need you to understand that they're not a cure. Carrots are not a cure, but they are a part of a larger hormonal detox and inflammation lowering strategy that I'm going to give you. So how exactly can carrots help? Well, estrogen is the number one thing that we're trying to control right now. And this is estrogen detox support, because HS, hormonal acne, and hair care issues can be worsened by estrogen dominance, too much estrogen. And that's what my body deals with hidradenitis suppurativa. My body literally produces too much estrogen for no reason, right? So raw carrots fiber bind. Listen, raw carrots fibers bind to use up estrogen in your gut, preventing it from being reabsorbed. This lightens the liver's detox load, and the result is a less circulating excess estrogen, which equals less hormonal inflammation, especially in the skin. And that's where my issue is with HS, right? But number two is going to be your gut and liver synergy, right? So a messed up gut can't clear your hormones at all if your gut is messed up. So a sluggish liver is going to store them. But carrots support both. Their antimicrobial properties balance gut bacteria that makes estrogen reabsorb more easily, and they support phase 3 detox, the pooping it out part, right? When you go dookie. So number 3 is going to be anti-inflammatory chain reactions, because lower estrogen overload equals, right, a reduction in certain activities within your body, like the one where the little chemical messengers stir up inflammation in your body. So since HS is an inflammatory skin disease, anything that dials that down is going to help, and carrots do that. Carrots can reduce the overall skin inflammation, oil production, and clogged follicles. Did you hear me? Carrots do all of that. So skin and hair specific hormonal effects, right? Carrots are going to be able to help those symptoms, the painful HS boils. They are going to help to reduce the estrogen load, which equals fewer flare-ups, right? Fewer little bum bumps, like I call them. And the statistic, I can't get it out. Jaw acne, right? You'll have less hormonal oil production, which is going to result in less pore clogging, because with HS, or if you have anything that causes your hormones to go haywire, your body will be producing too much sebum. And that's where a lot of the seborrheic dermatitis will be coming from. It won't even come from you greasing and oil in the scalp, but carrots can help you balance all of that out, right? It balances the hormone that triggers the sebaceous gland in the first place. So you'll also have less estrogen, which equals less of a spread of that over the body. So that's going to help with your scalp inflammation, because your gut and your liver support, it helps to clear excess androgens and estrogen within the body. So it's so freaking important for you to make something as simple as carrots a part of your day. On my blog, I have a couple of different recipes, right? But something really simple, you just get a raw carrot detox salad. You can have this daily or 4 times a week. All you need is one medium carrot grated, 1 teaspoon of coconut oil or olive oil, and then 1 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar, not in your her, in the salad, and then a pinch of salt, and then a squeeze of lemon. But this is just something real simple. But if you go over to my blog, I have like some really delicious recipes that help you put them all together, right? So it's amazing. But let me tell you something. Don't you go put no damn carrots in your hair, because that is not what I'm saying. You putting carrots in your hair is not going to help it bind to anything to get the excess estrogen out of your body. It will not. It will not. Because the stratum corneum is not going to allow the carrots that you're putting on your scalp to go from your scalp to your stomach. Because if that were true, then when you were hungry, you wouldn't have to chew your food. You would just be able to put your burger, your hamburger right on top of your head. And you'd be like, girl, I ain't even hungry no more. That was delicious. But that's not the thing, right? We need to ingest these things and let these properties work from the inside out. Right now, you're looking at bodock root, which is one of my favorite herbal detoxes, right? We have bodock blue within the apothecary, and it is amazing because bodock blue has bodock root and blue butterfly pea flower tea. That one is amazing because it aids the body in skin cell regeneration. It helps you to reset that natural skin cell turnover cycle, as the bodock root is helping you to detox your body and get all of the things that are no longer serving your body, that is slowing down your skin cell turnover cycle out. So all of these things are so important. But if all we're focused on is how much hair we're losing in the brush, then you don't get to any of these things. You need to focus on your porosity, and you get it for free right on my website. What you're looking at right now is the homepage of my website. All you have to do is go to my website, click on that tab, on that button that says free porosity test. You're going to add your name and email, and then wait. Do not sign off of the page. Wait. Stay on that page, and underneath you're going to see click here and click there, and then boom shikala boom, the ebook will be right there, and you can figure out how to check your porosity, right? But you just looked at the apothecary and all of the herbal blends that we have, all of the salves, the extracts and tinctures, and all of the things, right? Anything that you need, you can get on my website. But if you need my help, I no longer offer one-on-one consultations. I love you guys so much. I've been getting a lot of these emails. I'm no longer open my energy up in that way. So I don't do one-on-one consultations anymore. But I do have this 7-day challenge that helps you reset. And then I have the Growth Cycle Blueprint, which helps you rebuild everything from the inside out. And when you run into issues, you just let me know within the group, and then I make a video just for you within our group. It's a private relationship. It's amazing. If you want more information on that, again, links will be in the description box below. It is a really, really vibrant community. So when you go on my website, you can always see how many active members are there on the website within the challenges at one time. One thing that's great too, I understand times be hard a little bit, but All you would do is go and register for my website, right? Once you register over on my website, you have a username and a login, right? And once you have that, then you'll go in, you'll go ahead, add the products to the cart, the challenge, whichever one it is. And before you pay, look at what this is. Instead of putting your card information in, you will go all the way down to where it says sizzle, and then it's going to take you to a different page. You follow the promptings on the screen, and then it'll bring you right back. And then you'll be able to take any of my challenges and the course, any of my challenges. You'll be able to take either one of my courses, and it'll be broken down into 4 easy payments, right? But I need you to understand that I am coming from the aspect of science. So I'm never going to be on here like, oh, do this, put your hair in these twisties and these ponytails. Only certain types of cosmetologists are going to be able to relate to this. But when summer hit, my clients would go to see different braiders and things of that nature, right? And then after summer was over, they would come back to me, and then all of the work that we had done before summer has been undone, and we have to start all over. That does not mean that Black women cannot grow hair. That means that Black women think that the styles that they're doing to protect their hair and to retain length are actually hurting them. So you never see your growth, because after the summer's over, you're constantly repairing and babying your hair and undoing what you did in the summertime. But just imagine if your styles and your patterns and routines didn't go in that manner. One issue that women always have is like, oh, but what if I sweat and what if I do this? Y'all, you are a human being. You are going to sweat. You're going to sweat. You can't stop it. So in this case, you need to figure out the different techniques and the different things that you can do to combat the sweat when it comes, not to stop it, not to block it, because God made your body to have sweat glands for a reason. Right? That's why even with me having hydrogenated suppurativa, I'm not knocking anybody who does it, but I'm not going to get my sweat glands removed from my body, because mentally I just can't get myself to do it. I think God meant for my sweat glands to be here, so I just want to leave them there. But I know that there are changes that I can make in my diet, in the way that I move, in the way that I eat, the different things that I can do to keep my body from not reacting to the inflammation, right? And then I can also put things in my body that slow that down, right? Just like my last video on red clover tops. Red clover tops are amazing for fighting the imbalance of estrogen within the body, because red clover tops have plant estrogen. It literally mocks or mimics the estrogen that lives in the human body. And the type of estrogen that lives within red clover tops is an adaptogen, meaning that it meets you where you're at. So if you have too much estrogen, it will balance that out, right? So you'll go from having too much estrogen to just enough, or you'll go from not having enough estrogen to production to having just the right amount. But at the end of the day, before we can get any of these things straight, you have to change your practices. And you have to understand that detangling your hair wet with conditioner is going to lead to more single strand knots. And every woman that stops doing this, single strand knots become a thing of the past, something that they used to have. Like, girl, I remember back in the day when I used to have single strand knots. But this thing right now, the woman that you're looking at right now, and that ball of hair that she has in her hand has become most Black women's norm, and it is not normal. This should never happen. The only time you should see this much hair in your hand is if you've had braids in your hair for 3-4 months. And sometimes you don't even have that much shedding, depending on how the braids were put in. So these are things that I really, really need y'all to understand. It doesn't matter how much offense you have, your emotions won't help anything, nor will they break anything. You need to put your emotions to the side and let's dive into the science in 2025. If you really want to combat the breakage so you can retain the length, if you want to stop the scalp inflammation so your scalp can stay healthy and the skin cell turnover turnover cycle can stay intact. I love you. Let me know how you feel about this conversation and if you've learned anything new in the comments. Until later, bye.